I'm Guy, and this is the Plant Hunter Guy podcast. We're going to be talking about sustainability today, and we're really lucky to be joined by Lynne Lambourne. I had a quick look on her website, and she's got a creative junkie, lover of the outdoors, and a warrior on waste. Lynne, thanks a lot for coming on today.
Thank you for having me. It's lovely to be here again.
Absolutely, thanks a lot. So tell us a bit about yourself, and we've obviously done quite a lot of stuff together, which has been brilliant, all those partnerships.
This is fast becoming one of my favourite hideouts, hanging out around here and doing workshops. A little bit about myself. Well, I am all about sustainability. I like saving the planet, but in my own little way. So whether that's growing your own food or upcycling furniture or just passing on top tips, that's really where I've started. But it's kind of every day is different. I can't really give a description. I might be saving ghost net off the beach in Scotland one day, and the next day I'm at the Idle Home Show, and the next day I'm here. Who knows? Yeah. But passionate about making a difference, I think.
And where did you see the interiors was quite a big part of your interior design's a big part of your sort of beginnings, is that right? And so how did that all happen, and where did you?
I did a crazy TV show.
Yeah.
So I did the Great Interior Design Challenge and lost. It was a disaster. But the judge, Sophie Robinson at the time, was really complimentary about my work and then invited me to go and do some work with her at the Idle Home Show. So assisting her and helping out unpack boxes and styling, which I absolutely loved. And then it sort of snowballed from there. And then I entered another competition, which was Grand Designs Live. And I won Interior Designer of the Year with Kevin McLeod judging me, because I did a set which was all based on everything was recycled, upcycled, salvaged from a skip and painted by me. So the whole set had a story, but was curated to look kind of cool and mid-century. And he got it. And I think it was 2017. It was a little bit ahead of the curve of all of that. And then it's sort of grown from there.
Yeah. How did you sort of go down that with that vision? What was the point behind that? Was it just where you were? It's just you in a room?
I think I learned, I'm Welsh and I have a 9, or I did have a 9. And that was how she was. You know, she saved things from skips, she painted, she darned, she did all of those things. And I spent a lot of time with her growing up. And that's always been my thing and my aesthetic as well. I don't really like new shiny. I like what other people would probably skip. I love that feeling of saving something and turning it into something useful again. Yeah. It's just always been the way before there was a proper word for it, and it was called to be sustainable. Yeah. I think I was just cheap before.
It's the word that's thrown around.
Yeah, it is. But actually, it's going back a generation and looking at the way that they lived, and thinking a little bit more about that.
Yeah, really important. Yeah. And it's things, words like that. I always find if they're overused like that, sometimes you can be lost about the power of it, of what you're behind.
At the moment.
Yeah. But it's you live by it, don't you? So it's important. Tell us a bit about Grow Up, because I know you're a resident expert. And what does that mean to you tell us about
the Grow Up I started a few years ago because I noticed, and from talking to my friends, all of a similar age, there's a generational gap there of the fact that we haven't really spent much time gardening or been taught by our parents, because they sort of stopped. It all stopped. Growing your own food sort of fell out of favour. People didn't have the time. And I'm really passionate about teaching people to eat better. Yeah. And you can do that. You can have any sort of size space. It might be a window box, it might be a pot, it might be a garden, it might be an allotment, and just helping educate people how you do that. But I was aware that there was Gardener's World on television, there was magazines, but there wasn't one place in real time that you could go. And so I started writing a newsletter which hits everybody's inbox and tells them what to do in real time that week to do with growing your own food. So you need to be picking out your tomatoes, you need to. And then it's sort of grown from there. So now I have recipes and I teach people to cook outdoors, and we look at foraging, we look at everything. So it's my way of helping people be more sustainable in their gardens and in their food choices, and starting a bit of a mini food revolution. Really.
How do people find out about that then?
They just go to www.thegrowup.com and sign up for the newsletter, really. And it's all over Instagram as well. We are The Grow Up on Instagram. And I've got lots of people now who are contributing to that, lots of brands that I work with. So it's a nice platform for us all to come together and really help people. It's totally free. The newsletter is totally free. It's just to help people re-engage with their patches of growing goodness and do something other than a football pitch and a trampoline.
Our site that we used to be on, the nursery, that's now been sort of shut down, and now it's been turned into a community allotment. So it's brilliant. All of the local community, Angus, who's the founder of Arctic Plants, has set it up at his local community, and they're all going there and using it. So it's really Brilliant.
I'm building one just down the road here with the Earth Cycle people. So we're going to do a community garden on their farm for schools to come down. There's a big gap in youngsters' understanding about growing, about as a career choice, being a gardener, about growing food, about farming, all of that. Kids just think that food comes in a supermarket. They have no idea how a potato grows or where to plant it. And it's criminal. So we need to educate people on that so that they know what to eat when, in season, how it grows, all of those things. And if we don't, I don't know where we're going to be, eating everything in plastic packaging full of chemicals, and we'll be sick.
Yeah, so which is kind of where
we need to reclaim. Yeah, we need to reclaim things fast.
So again, where did that sort of passion for that come from? Is that you've been growing since a child?
No, I had a big sort of corporate career for a while, and my grandparents, my Nine and Tide, grew a lot of their own food. My dad grows he grows his own food. And just taste. And I just love growing. Yeah. Like today I've been on your publication. I just love that thing of taking something from a seed or from something and growing it into something. Yeah, it's amazing. And once you start growing food and you taste the tomatoes and you taste the herbs in your cooking, and you can go out your back door and grab a handful to chuck in a salad, it's really, really hard to go back to the plastic sandwich, processed food aisle with any conviction. Yeah. So it takes over you. And you start feeling better in yourself. Yeah. You understand what foods need to be eaten when and what the remedies are. And I find the whole nature thing, using nature for our health, just blooming common sense. That's all.
Yeah, so I started gardening with my parents at the age of 8, really. So that was my whole passion, was the idea of taking a seed and growing. From in mine, it's about, plants that you can clip and shape, whatever. But it's got the same feelings about it. It's that really tangible. You see something from your work. It's incredible.
And I love the fact that I can open my back door and I can think about nothing else other than my sprouts, how they're doing, clipping, and an hour can go by like that. And it's just a switch off time, and nobody can bother me. Well, they do bother me, but you're in your own zone doing what you do. And it's so good. And it's been proven now to help with mental health, and it's, it's very calming. So there's so many levels. Better for you, what you eat, better for your mental health. All of those things. So,
in terms of how much space does someone need to start with them? Is it about a case of finding a community allotment, or is it easy
your windows? You can even grow salad on your windowsill at home. Yeah, it's about we use that line in the grow at whatever your available space. So there's something there for everybody. So you might have a balcony, you might have a windowsill, you might have a polytunnel, you might just have a patio, but there shouldn't be anybody who can't start somewhere. Yeah. You can grow potatoes in a bag, at your back door, and a herb pot should be a standard for cooking and teas outside that. So you don't need much space.
Yeah, it's really important to not put limits around things, isn't it? And try and...
Yeah, I don't want people thinking they have to have a farm or an allotment. No, anybody can do anything.
That's cool. So you've talked about being, sounds like me, very influenced by your family in the past. Is there anyone else that's influenced you throughout your career, or maybe, to be where you're at? And anyone that maybe we should be looking out for as well, to find out more about what you get up to?
At the moment, I'm influenced by a lot of people that I come across in everyday sort of life. So there's a chap called Ali who runs Ocean Plastic Pots, who's out cleaning the ocean from the Ghost Net. Super influenced by him. Conversations with people and the Paul Watson Foundation, who are helping with the ocean situation as well. All these people that you meet on a day-to-day basis, meeting you and hearing your passion for things. I think being influenced is something that's happening continuously with the people that I meet. And I think I'm going one way, and then I have a conversation with somebody, and I'm like, God, that was so powerful. I understand what they mean. And then I'm going another way. Life is, every day is a school day. And I really enjoy that, being challenged and meeting people and then sort of sparking something new in me. So.
Yeah, same here. Yeah. I think these sort of conversations as well are really important to share, just so everyone can learn from them.
Yeah.
So one thing I've noticed on the link to that sort of clean-up is what you do after the Henley Regatta. Yeah. So you jump into the water, from what I can tell, on a kayak, and you do a big clean-up.
Paddleboard. Yeah. Paddleboard, we do the clean-up on the river after regatta. So they've asked me for the last 4 or 5 years. We've even got Steve Redgrave out there helping us. So cool. And we just the regatta are very keen to take responsibility for the river afterwards. They have an amazing sustainability program in place now. So, there's no single-use plastic on the course or anything, but we still want to go out at the end of it. So the rowers come down some local schools and we go and we just clean and we find some very funny things. But
yeah, I do.
what goes on tour stays on tour. But yeah, we clean, bring it all back, sort it all out, and then have a cup of tea and coffee. And it's a great way to bring community together.
Yeah.
You're never going to make a difference to the situation in ocean plastic with one paddleboard clean, but you are highlighting and making people think twice about what they do put in the river, which is never a bad thing, is it?
For me, like the one thing I just loved about seeing you doing that is it's relatively a small act, but it has big impact on probably the people that are watching you doing it, and then that sort of spirals out. Do you find that happens? And
yeah. So, I've got a bit of a reputation now of going out and being in, people are calling me in Henley saying, there's a lot of plastic up by the lock. Oh, God, yeah, okay, I'll try to fit that in. But that's what these are. And the same with the beach cleans in Scotland when we go and get the ocean ghost net. I mean, we're not really impacting that. The problem is so vast. But what we are doing is highlighting. Yeah. And if you highlight a problem, people think twice about dropping that piece of plastic, or will then be behind us when we're trying to bring the fishing industry into accountability over the waste that they're putting in there. So anything that highlights, that's great. And if I can use my sort of little name to put that into people's heads, then I'm absolutely going to do that, because you can't be a sustainability ambassador and sit behind a desk all day long and do absolutely nothing to do with saving the planet.
You've got to go
You've got to get out there, and
yeah.
You've got to be able to tell people from first-hand experience what you're seeing, and then people will listen.
We have quite a big frontage, the nursery, out onto a main road, which is constantly people throwing rubbish out the window. I can't really get my head around it, how they do that, but you see all the same old stuff there every time. And
tossers, we call them, literally tossers.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's good. That's exactly what they are doing. So we have to do that every maybe 2-3 weeks. We're out on the road and trying to clean up. For me, it's really important as a business that we're seen to be doing that, because we don't want anyone to see rubbish outside of our premises. But it's that, how do we change people's mindset then? So you're saying about, we promote it, we go and do it. Yeah. What else can we do? What can we do to make a difference?
What we can do is talk about the detrimental effect that's having, and hopefully that will play on their heartstrings. It's disgusting. What gives somebody the right to dump into nature something that they wouldn't put in their car? Take it home and put it in the bin.
It's mad, yeah.
But it is about education. It's about youngsters are so good now. At school, they're taught about sustainability. I go in with the Warriors on Waste, and we talk about upcycling and recycling and everything. They're the ones that are putting pressure on their mums and dads. Why are you walking around with that Costa cup? Why haven't you got a refillable? What? They don't even think about not having a water bottle. So they're very much the future. And if they can talk about it and highlight things and give people a nudge, that's what we need.
That's really powerful, yeah.
Yeah.
My daughter's 8, and she's definitely already starting to do that. She's got quite clear ideas on what should and shouldn't be done. It's in a good way. It's really, really good. Holding people accountable then.
Exactly, yeah.
Well, you talked about Warriors and Waste, so tell me about that. Tell us about that.
So Warriors and Waste is something I started probably about 10 years ago just to teach kids. So I do holiday camps and I do paddleboard river cleans, and we make stuff from trash to treasure. So we'll just have a whole load of kids who come to a workshop and we get stuck in, or we might be planting, whatever. And the idea is that we all wear camo boiler suits, and we're just taking care of the planet together. And then they learn and go home. And in fact, the first kids that have come now at university, some of them have gone into the sustainability world, and that's
you must be
incredible.
Really
yeah, and they come up to me still and see me around Henley, and they're like, "Hi, Lynne, I'm doing this, I'm doing that." And it's so good to know that which wasn't at the time in school, wasn't really talked about. I do go into schools and I do talk to them a lot, but that's brought something to their minds, which is good. That's all you want, isn't it?
We obviously share like a massive passion for education in horticulture or in the environment together. That's something we're obviously doing different in different ways. What age group where do you think, if you're going to go and speak to students at school, what age group do you think works the best?
Each age group has something different, but I think that the sooner you start, the better. But you just got to obviously adapt the way you're telling that story. It can be incredibly frightening, a lot to do with climate change and pollution with children. So you've got to assure them that, lots of times you listen to the news, it's very doom and gloom, and that can be quite stressful. So it's very much we need to do this, but together we can make a difference, and we can do that. And I think that's particularly important with the littlies as well. But making it fun. You cannot walk into a classroom, a lecture theatre or anything and stand at the front and go, You've got to make it fun, you've got to make it cool, and you've got to want those kids to come with you. I want to be part of her team with a camo boiler suit out in the woods, because that looks like a whole lot of fun. And then you've got them. You've pulled on their heartstrings, and then they're with you for life. They understand, they love the planet, but the main thing is you also can't tell it from a classroom. You have to take them out into the woods. You have to take them to nature to make them fall in love with nature, to want to take care of nature.
So you know how you collect all the rubbish, and so sometimes you're telling it, do you say into treasure, trash to treasure?
Trash to treasure.
Very nice, yeah. So once stuff is recycled, and I mean, how much faith do you have in the UK system of recycling? Like, once you've done your cleanup,
I would say that I'm much more an advocate of getting rid of the packaging altogether. If we can refill, or if we can think of another option, then that's the way I would like to push the world. The recycling is, you know, everybody says recycle a plastic water bottle. Oh, it's okay because I put it in the recycling. It's downcycling. So it will never be a plastic water bottle again. It will be a lower grade of plastic. So we're not ever eliminating that problem. We really need to think about alternative ways of living.
Absolutely.
That don't need so much packaging and so much, you know, all this stuff that we're making. We don't need to do it. Refill. Go to a refill shop, celebrate those things, bring those into everyday life, change our habits, and that's the way forward.
Yeah, that's excellent. Yeah, so we, as a nursery, one of our biggest issues really in terms of plastic is our pots.
Yeah.
So we're a container grown nursery. So we are, the only thing we've been able to do up to now is use as a recycling scheme.
Yeah.
Which means they're being reused, the same product, they don't have to change. And we're trying to change people's opinion, customers, almost like their journey, so they come back and they always bring back their pots. But you know, there are other options, which is field growing, which we again are trying to do. It's a very difficult site here because it's so wet, but they're important steps to make, right? And
because every little change helps, and every time you don't use that packaging, that's a win. Complete win. But recycling it's almost I feel sometimes like recycling is greenwashing, because no matter how many times you recycle, we're still causing a problem with recycling. So, but by the fact that we say it's recycled is almost like, yeah, I get that, but maybe we didn't need it in the first place.
Yeah, okay.
But it is difficult. I know, you know, transporting food and all there's so many, it's so complex. Yeah. But there have been amazing steps made in the last few years.
Yeah, going back to growing your own food, that just removes that issue, right? Exactly. So that's a really important circular argument.
There's no way that I go and get a plastic tub and put my strawberries in it. I go straight into my fridge. So that's a win, you know? Yeah,
it's cool. So we're talking now a bit about buying and as a buyer, like that responsibility really with the buyer. So do you know of any schemes or things that we need to be doing in terms of that as a consumer to, other than growing our own food, which is obviously brilliant.
Stamp on that, it's your own. Well, obviously organic farming, food-wise, and things like that. But B Corp, when I'm doing designing or when I'm looking at designing, you know, things at Chelsea, I'll look for companies who've got the B Corp stamp. Yeah. So that's just an overall thing for me. And small local independent companies are always my first stop, because you can have a conversation with them, you know where it's come from, it's not being imported, you know, you can do best. In terms of plants, I mean, that's your expertise, isn't it? I just go to you and you need to tell me more of what I'm looking
at. Yeah, well, so yes, we've been it's really cool, because one of the podcasts we did was with a scheme called Plant Healthy. Yeah. And that it's a brilliant organisation, really, because the idea is that we're accredited by them. Any plants we're purchasing, and then when we sell them out as well, there's a whole process we need to follow to make sure that our plants are healthy, pest-free, disease-free, all those kind of things. So, yeah, you can look out for that kind of stamp on a nursery. It's the Plant Healthy certification. Yeah. But these schemes, I mean, I was always so worried about the fact they're just a lot of paperwork exercise, but we found that to be brilliant in terms of really practical. Yeah. And we've made a lot of changes to the business as a result of it.
Yeah. And it's important because, you know, designers and people who are working for big companies, or even homeowners now who care about the planet, they're looking for something. So they want to put their buck with somebody who's doing something good, and they know that what they're buying is is cared for.
It's got a good stamp on seal of approval.
Yeah.
The B Corp thing's something we can look out on. It's just a capital B, isn't it?
Yeah,
in a circle,
B,
is that right?
Yeah, you have to go through lots of accreditation. They do lots of checks on the way you run your business, everything from, using greener energy all the way through to your packaging, the whole shebang.
Yeah. Cool.
So that's a really good stamp for people to look out for. Yeah.
Cool. This year, I know we saw you at Chelsea and you told us the news about being a RHS judge on the trade stand. Is that right? Yeah. So that's big news. Well done.
Flip forward.
How was that?
It was hard work. No, it was lovely. It was really lovely. It was nice seeing it from a different way around.
Yeah.
And going around, and I did feel sorry for them because I absolutely understand the hard work that goes into those trade stands and the trade stand gardens. I've done it 3 years in a row, and it's not a lot, but the standard was unbelievable. Yeah. And it's a lovely way to meet people.
Yeah, I bet. So how different is it being, having to do it and you get there and you're exhausted and you finish the stand to you going in and knowing that and then having to judge on it?
Oh, I still miss building. Yeah. I'm not really a frock and a clipboard kind of girl. I loved it. Don't get me wrong. And it was such an honour and I'd love to do it again. But I missed the build. I love that atmosphere because what you have at Chelsea before it opens to the general public is all your best mates and everybody you admire in the industry in one big place at one time, drinking coffee, covered in mud, wearing really rubbishy clothes and high vis, and just sharing. The community at Chelsea for that is incredible. And everybody helps each other. Everybody's trying to support each other, and I miss that. I got a snippet of it because I came around and said hello to everybody. But I love a build and managing a project. That's me.
Yeah. We're the same. I mean, I think there's just nothing quite like it. It's an amazing community, isn't it? And everyone's there to help, actually. Yeah. Although I'm assuming it gets quite competitive on the judging side in terms of...
Nobody's competing against each other. It's very much your trade stand for your stars. Okay. And there's a lot of criteria that go into that. It doesn't mean that you're, any worse or any better. It's just judged sort of on what you do on that day. Okay. So, but still... It's nice, and those judges, the ones they've been doing it for years. Everybody knows everybody, and it's really nice. And a lot of the people that we came up to judge, they'd known the judge before, and there was conversation. It's a very nice atmosphere. It's not really kind of scary. Yeah.
And if you've got a trade stand, what should we know? Is there any little secrets?
The biggest thing I would say is talk about the history of your brand or your business. Give the buyer who's arriving at your stand some idea of where you come from, what you're passionate about. So that might be some pictures on the wall of your family factory or where you make things, or something other than just the hard sell. Some heart. Show some heart, and show some, if it's a family run business, talk about that, because that's what Chelsea is all about. It's about celebrating these really lovely stories between, about the brands that are there.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we really like to see that.
So this year, the RHS have released a new peat policy, which is going to start in January next year. Yeah. Obviously, it's something I imagine is pretty important to you as well as an issue.
Yeah.
What do you think about that?
It's a tricky one. We have talked lots about this I've talked lots about this with other gardeners, and sometimes it doesn't feel that the peat-free soil is as good for growing. It can be a bit drier and all that, but I completely understand why peat is so important. And I think that's the stumbling block, is that a lot of people don't necessarily know what peat does. And peat is the biggest sequential of carbon that we have on the planet. If we keep digging that up, we don't have that opportunity. And at the moment, at the rate we're knocking down trees and all these things, the climate is warming, we need to keep that in where it belongs. Yeah. So that's the understanding behind it, and how we tackle that, and how we find something which allows us to grow in the same way is going to be tricky. Yeah. But I feel like it's something that we need to address and we need to do.
I agree, and I think just by the nature of them having released that policy, it's opened up debate, right? And that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So
we haven't been able to use peat soil in any of the gardens for a while at Chelsea. Yeah. It's been frowned on. So they were quite ahead of the curve and just straight onto that. But
yeah, absolutely. And again, it opens up debate and it allows us to realise the importance of it.
Yeah.
And not digging it up.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. We're hoping to speak to them later in the year about it and find out a bit more, just so I'm finding a lot of our both retail and trade customers are just want more information.
Yeah.
Because like any policy, it's a lot to unearth, a lot to get involved with. So nice one.
But I think that you've touched on something there. There should be more information on why it's important.
Yeah, I agree.
Because we're not talking about that. We're just saying peat free. It has to be peat free. Why?
Yeah.
And really explain it.
Yeah, for me, that's the thing. I love to try and break down information that, to be honest, frankly, is quite hard to get your head around, and also sometimes just too much.
Yeah.
So that's for me. That's the key thing, is just talking about it. Yeah. So obviously, you said about having done work on trade stands before. You do lots of brand ambassador stuff. Tell us about that and what that means to you.
That's I represent brands, so I will work with brands, but not just any brand. Brands that I feel are my tribe as such. Yeah. So I will then help them with their social media, help them with their networking, and use their tools in what I do on a daily. I love filming and I love talking. Yeah. So I use them in the gardens that I design and build. So it's all about sort of a relationship where I can promote what they do because I really resonate with what they do. And I become their ambassador and help them out.
One thing that we just felt amazing about when we met you is that you just have this amazing warmth. You bring people together. You create a community around you, all with this sort of common thread, right? So that's I call them my tribe, and it is just about celebrating and bringing together people who I feel are like-minded, who care about the planet, who care about each other and want to be part of a community and work well together. Yeah. The world can be so much nicer if we all just operated together. Yeah. And I have this opportunity being out on the road. I meet so many brands with so many different things, and I hear what they do and I think, do you know what? They would be great with that. If they gave the soil to these 3 people and these 3 people did that, why aren't we all working together? And I introduce people, and then I hear these wonderful stories of how they're all working together, and I think that's exactly what I want, is just to be this wonderful networker for good, if you like. Because we met, our first project was at the Ideal Home Show.
Yeah.
And it was brilliant for us, because just to see all these partnerships in action. Yeah. What's your sort of favourite, I suppose, partnership you've seen so far in terms of as a big project?
Well, I've been with Gardena for 4 or 5 years, and that's led me to design at Chelsea. So they, that's been, and they contacted me. It's a very strange story, because when I did the Ideal Home Show, I was told at last minute they were my sponsor, and I'd done a plastic-free garden, and they arrived on site with their plastic tools and put them all around the garden, and I, literally had a ginger strop. And I was like, and then it was fine. We all got on very well, and I had a lovely chat with them. And then, lo and behold, months later, they contacted me and said, we're now going to do a line called Eco Line, which is 60% recycled plastic, and we'd like you to launch it and could you design a garden at Chelsea? And it's one of those phone calls where you sort of, you're lost for words, you're staring at the phone, and that's how we started. So that's been a really important collaboration to me. But every collaboration every relationship is super important. Yeah. And I never fall out with anyone. All these brands that I've worked with, I'm still working with, and we pull together.
Because you never know when you next need to do that again.
Kindness, collaboration, community, and those are the things that you should be working towards every day. And nearly everybody who I work with at the Ideal Home Show is part of the Grow Up now. They can see the benefit of working together and working. So, it works that way. Yeah. Supporting each other and being kind. The kinder economy, I call it. Kind to the planet, kind to each other. Yeah.
I think it's about that really positive attitude as well, isn't it, around things. I just tend to find myself going into situations and having a really clear goal of what I want to get to. But actually, if you've got good people around you and you're kind and you're happy and you're smiling, it tends to get you there quicker.
Exactly. And someone would always help you. If you help somebody, they will repay that favour, and that's the way the magic happens. Yeah. And if they're a good company, you don't think twice about recommending them to somebody else, and then they start working together. Yeah, agreed. And it's brilliant.
So you're moving home, is that right?
Yeah.
So what's the plan?
Well, the plan is there is no plan. No, it's a loose plan. No, I am going to try, and I talk all the time about living sustainably and living differently. And I live in a 5-bedroom house at the moment, and with a big garden, and the time has come. My kids are leaving, so I'm downsizing, and I want to show people how you can live sustainably. I'm calling it the Henley Homestead, because homesteading is a way of living where you're a little bit more self-sufficient. I'm not going to be like a farm in America, because obviously I'm in a bungalow in the middle of a village. But I want to grow my own food. I want to show people how you can live in less space. So storage solutions. I want to show them how I upcycle my furniture like I always have, using products that are made from recycled materials, salvaging things, all of that.
Amazing.
And show my lifestyle of giving people an excuse really to say, actually, do you know what? I'm not aspiring for that huge house with the, big garden and blah, blah, blah. I'm going to try that way of living because that seems to make people happy and it's much more doable. So watch this space. I have no idea how it will pan out, but
how are we going to be able to follow that journey?
Well, I'm doing it all over Instagram, so it's on my page. The last thing I need is another Instagram account. So, and I've started calling it the Henley Homestead, and so people can follow me along on that. And at some point in the future, I might do a newsletter and a Substack. It's time, isn't it?
You sound like you're incredibly busy already. I mean, the amount of projects you've got going on, they're all linked together though, right? There's a common thread.
It's all sustainability and it's all a common theme of that. But yes, I'm a million different fingers and a million different pies and a million different projects. But
Incredible.
Life is short and there's a lot I need to do.
Well done. Yeah, it's cool. It's been brilliant talking to you. Tell us, if you're going to leave this, how, in terms of for an individual or for a business, what's one thing either of those could do to make a difference, to change, to live more as Lynne does? Yeah.
Gosh, what one thing could they do? I think the biggest thing they could do is probably talk to everybody around them and educate them on something. So conversations about sustainability or what is needed. So educate. So just sit, go out for drinks one night and just see how is everyone getting to work, or what is the greener lighting, what energy do you use at work? And from that, other things will change, but it's just about bringing it into a conversation, I think, and making it not a doom sort of lecture, but a fun conversation with a beer.
So it's really interesting hearing that. So we just put in solar panels this year here at work, and everything in this room is being lit now by solar. Everything. So we're fully we put it back in the grid.
Yeah.
But
one small change.
It's been incredible. So if you're not totally environmentally focused, just the idea that saved money is quite a good thing. It's talking to people about it in a way that engages them, I think, as well.
And it doesn't have to be huge. Small things, little steps, baby steps that you start in your workforce or you're at home, they'll all lead to something. Yeah. And don't be scared to just try something. One small thing, that's all.
Brilliant. Love it. Thank you very much for coming in.
Welcome.
It's been a great conversation.
The propagation course, it was brilliant.
Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it.